Warning. The following video contains spoilers for the inner workings and behind-the-scenes processes of the Project 863 series. If you do not wish to be spoiled on future or past videos, nor have the spell of the series broken, you have been warned. What is up, everybody? Welcome to today's episode of Behind 863.
Hey.
This is episode
Ooh.
20...
Podcast. You said
2.
episode of Behind 863. Like, I know this podcast is Behind 863, but that made it sound like we were introing a Behind 863 video.
You're right. This is
Podcast.
podcast.
The
Behind 863
Spellbound
podcast.
podcast.
Behind
Oh.
863 podcast.
Should we change that sign?
No, because that's our company.
Oh,
Right.
Yeah.
Sorry, I got confused.
Yeah, common misconception. This is podcast 20 something. I think it's like 22.
22, I
Could be
think.
23.
I don't know about you.
I'm feeling.
I'm feeling 22.
Uh,
you.
Nice.
that'll probably be the last Taylor Swift reference. I can't promise it, but that will probably
Sam,
be.
are you
Challenge
22?
me. I am 22.
Whoa.
Wow, you are?
Last one for this
Oh,
year.
not.
What'd you say?
Last one for this year, then. Last reference to
Yeah.
Taylor Swift.
You
Yeah.
don't get to say that
Yeah,
again.
no more. Once you hit
Wow.
23, you're too old
The
Yep,
references
I
are
agree.
over.
Okay.
for Taylor
Sure.
Swift references.
Try me.
Yeah.
Try me.
You're going to get arrested.
So yeah, we have some small updates. We're going to go over last week's episode, maybe read some comments, all that jazz. So
And all that jazz.
wow, you
Jazz.
even sang a little jazz. That's pretty nice.
Lots of songs from Sam today.
Oh, you've been singing all day?
Oh,
Well, no,
she just did
all
She
that
just
jazz is a
referenced
song
the 22.
from
22 is
Chicago.
also a
22
song.
is the Taylor Swift
Just
song.
from the city?
I'm
Ah,
lost.
the musical.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
Woods,
Already.
quick, tell a story to explain something that you could have just explained on its own. Go.
I need someone to explain it to me. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, I'm kind of blacking out right now. Yeah, so update from last week's podcast. That one, what we filmed for like an hour. It ended up being a lot shorter because we started talking about stuff we didn't technically
What
have.
were you talking about?
Yeah, what were we talking
Well, I
about?
can't. Well, if I talk about it, we'd have to cut it.
What
But
is
pretty
it,
much, it would have been
Taylor?
leaked info about something that was true at the time, and then now it's kind of not true. It's a whole thing. It's not a big deal. It just
Wow.
has to do with
What
kind of
was
like
it?
our platform and
weird.
stuff. Yeah.
Oh,
It's pretty much just like
yeah.
stuff going on with the
Oh,
platform,
got it.
and we want to make sure that we aren't just like revealing tons of stuff and going back and changing stuff. So
Right.
that's all it was.
Checks out.
It was longer. It got cut down. I'm sorry, but it's just for the
It's like
sake of the video.
75% of the conversation. Too.
Yeah, I'm
We
actually
talked
curious to
about
see
that
how
for a
long it
while.
is because we're filming this before I get that cut. So I'm
Oh.
curious.
Oh.
I told Blatt, I was like, Blatt, you're just gonna have to cut out all of the bits where we talk about that stuff. I'm like, it's gonna be a shorter podcast. Like life just happens, you know.
She's
Sorry,
like, okay,
boy.
so 4 minutes. Got it.
So it'll be exciting to see. So yeah, that's pretty much that update. Is there any other like studio updates going on right now?
Studio updates, my guys. What do we have going on? Did you see how I just responded with confidence without forming an answer yet?
Yeah, you
So,
kind of like
anyone?
that was like when the confident person reiterates what you say.
Uh-huh.
You know, it's
Oh,
like
yeah.
Obama. What was that like old like SNL skills like Obama explaining kind of thing?
Oh, the
Obama
that was
Obama
Key and
translator?
Peele.
Yeah, Sam's kind of like my hype up translator. I was just like, hey, so like, what's going on at the studio? She's like, yeah,
What's
everybody.
going
what
on at the studio?
is a fellow employees of the
Fellow
company?
employees, guys, what's going on?
Any
Tanner
dirt?
wants to know.
Any tea to spill?
Yeah,
Any,
you have any information? What is new? I mean, I feel like we're getting into the flow of like having a slightly larger team. Obviously, like Lauren's been here for what, a couple weeks now? Just like 2 weeks?
I think this is
1
her
week?
third week now.
Oh, third week.
Yeah.
Okay.
How's she doing,
know,
Woods?
Lauren?
She's been working with you a lot.
Yeah,
recently.
she's been helping out with props, right?
She's been doing really great. I feel bad because like I've had to pivot our like strategy on certain props
Mm-hmm.
a couple different times. So she's like kind of had to learn like how to use this whole like cricket machine thing for, I wouldn't say nothing, but I will say like it will be useful that she learns how to, or it will be useful that she knows how to use it because we'll need it in
Also,
the future.
crickets are just
Nice.
dope anyways.
Yeah.
You kind of just want to know how to use a cricket.
Yeah.
She told me she was bummed out that she didn't get to use it. So
Oh, she'll
Well,
be
hey, now she
using it
knows.
for sure, like in the future.
cool. I'll let her know.
But She's doing a great job assisting with production.
Nice.
She was a trooper on. I guess we can talk about last week's shoot.
Can we?
Maybe
This will come out
or-
in 2 weeks. So if
Yes.
Sure.
Yeah.
we can.
That video's coming out next week.
Yep.
Because
then you can
Oh
talk
yeah,
about it.
yeah, great. Yeah, so she was a trooper with assisting us with the pushing out video in the wall. That was Lauren doing that effect.
Lauren's
Good job,
hand.
Lauren.
That was Lauren's hand.
And she was.
Lauren was in a tiny
I
little
guess I-
space.
Yeah.
Let me break down real quick what she had to do. So, like, you saw the episode. There was a hand pushing out of the wall, and you're going to find in the next episode.
Tiny little
Yeah.
space.
There's a tiny little space that you had to like
She was on the other side of the wall.
really, really, yeah. It was, oh man, and also like Mike was playing that really, really well.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, so I don't know if you guys could tell because you probably assumed that like, oh, everything was done in post. The noise that Mike created to be the sound that was driving us insane was playing practically. I'm sure some of it was like touched up in post, but so that noise was actually like driving us insane. It was
He
so
got this
loud.
thing on like one of those like concert
like,
speakers.
yeah.
One of those like announcement speakers.
It
Yeah.
was insane.
I do have to preface this by saying that in the video that just came out, the one where we turn on the system, that there was no sound there, and I just want to preface that because in the video, no, not practically, because everyone starts freaking out, and I'm just standing there because I have no idea why you guys are freaking out.
When we were filming the initial video, like you said, the kind of like part 1 to the overnight, when we first turned it on, you're right, there was absolutely no sound happening, and Bailey just had to act along with us. But was that easy to do, or
Okay, so like in my mind, I caught on a lot faster than I did in the video. Like watching the video, I'm like, there's no reaction at all. Like you guys are like, oh my god, and I'm just like like not understanding why you guys are
That
freaking
kind
out.
of looks like a reaction, though. It kind of looks like you're like hyper processing what's going on.
Yeah, that's
in
true.
reality, she's
just
trying to
wanted to
figure it out,
Yeah.
but she's just like,
She just went into shock.
yeah.
she's like, oh, what's going on, looking left and right at us for guidance.
Yeah. Someone tell me what you're hearing. I can't hear.
That's probably nice
Yeah.
dissonance though, because if they're doing this like big outward reaction, like OMG, and you're kind of like having this hyper realistic like internal reaction, of like
Someone
worked.
someone
Be real,
commented in the
maybe.
Discord and they were like, Bailey didn't even react. And I was like, yeah.
Hey,
Sorry.
some people freeze in moments of stress, you know?
Yeah,
yeah, I mean
that's
the
my
people in the
coping
Discord
mechanism.
will know like that like you're not in the loop for like a lot of this, or they'll know kind of like where you're at, I guess I would say, like with the story. Whereas like the average viewer who thinks nobody knows what's going on, you know, who's just like brand new to the story,
Right.
will probably like rationalize that more for you instead of people who like kind of have a very good understanding of like what the channel is and how everything's being done. So I just think like, yeah, for like, I think a lot of people that are like deep within like the roots will probably be like, oh, Bailey didn't react. What's
Yeah.
going on with that? But I
Silly
think
Bailey.
like the majority of the audience will be like, oh wow, she's really torn up about this sound that's going on right now.
You just
Yeah.
chalk
So
it up
having
to-
a really
to
intense
chaotic
reaction.
moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
a character choice.
Fun other thing for us on the team. The video we released yesterday is number 1 out of 10.
Yay.
So that's great.
on YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Out of all
Or-
the videos
or-
on YouTube.
On YouTube.
Yeah, out of all
Oh,
of them.
oh, you mean like? Did you mean like on trending or something?
No, yeah, no, I just meant like all together, all the videos on YouTube. Never mind.
He's
It's
saying
not
it was
good
number
work.
No.
one ever. is what he's
Yeah.
kinda
Cut it
saying.
out, below. Cut out
Cut
that
it out.
joke.
Yeah, no, it's number 1 out of 10. So that's always nice, you know, to see our videos performing well amongst our other previous uploads.
Did
Yeah.
Matt
Of course,
change
it's the
thumbnail
mannequin
on that
one.
too?
No.
I don't remember it
I
having
don't
the
think
red
so.
circle at first, but now I remember looking back and it had
Yeah,
the red
it was
circle.
in the options that he sent
Oh yeah,
all
we
of
all.
us.
I mean, I
But
think
when
a
it first
majority
went live?
voted for 4. Yeah,
It had the red circle even initially.
Yeah.
yeah, because I dragged
Should.
and dropped it. I
Oh.
added the thumbnail.
For some reason, I literally had this thought when because I remember I was watching the preview like when the video was going live, and I feel like I remember it not having it. But then I remember looking last night and I saw it had. I was like, oh, did they change that? But no, it might have just always been that.
I think it was.
I remember thinking it was a good thumbnail. I remember thinking it's like, wow, it catches my eye.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Short,
Yeah,
simple.
it's very creepy. That's the thing. Something about them, like, there's just this physical aspect like that we gotta like capture this lightning in the bottle of like physically creepy, unsettling, but you can't take your eyes off of things. And I think like Mannequin is just that to a T.
Yeah.
It's like this like weird uncanny area of
Yes.
like it looks like a human, but it doesn't have human features
That's
in some
exactly
The
what
uncanny
makes
valley.
it. What makes it so like
Unsettling.
unsettling, and also like you can't look away is because like we're instinctively like, oh, that's a human. Well, there's no features on it. Oh,
Yeah.
but it's a human.
But it has
there's no
no-
it's
features
not.
on
It
it.
has
Yeah.
enough human features to look human, but not enough to be human. You know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
And
and
you're
like that's
hmm.
creepy.
It is.
You like your brain doesn't know what to do with that at night. Like anytime we do these late at night, for us it's 7:30 p.m. But oh, I'm sorry. It was 3 a.m. Right? It was we all totally would have come to the studio at 3 a.m. if Matt called us in the middle of the night.
I would have.
I don't know if I would have answered the phone.
I think I would. I think I honestly would have slept through it.
Yeah, I
I'm
sleep
such
with
a deep
my phone
sleeper that
silent.
like, yeah, if my alarm is set
that's
for
true.
the
I might have
morning,
slept
my
through it,
phone is
too.
set to silent.
I would have been like, "What's up? What's good? Like,
Yeah.
did you buy something cool? I'll be right there."
Do you have a new RC car?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, anytime we shoot in red base with all the lights off, and there's like some like fictional scary element, I always end up getting scared.
just like,
like
what-
actually.
I just like, do you guys have other ideas? Like, I know I said like taxidermy is definitely one of those things too. But like, what is another one of those? Like, taxidermy is also one of those things of like physically makes you uneasy. Like, it's a physical thing that makes you uneasy. 'cause,
Dolls, baby dolls.
Dolls for
Dolls,
sure.
yeah.
Ventriloquist puppets.
Yes.
Yeah.
like
I would
voodoo
say,
dolls, maybe.
Taxidermy doesn't really do that to me, but definitely dolls do that to me.
Well, taxidermy. Like, think about like taxidermy, like following you around though. You know what I'm saying? Like, it kind of has this weird vibe of like if you were to believe like this
it's like an
realistic
animal.
fake thing
That's
came
the
to
thing
life.
that like doesn't get me is like it's an animal. You know?
I think the human aspect is what is like
The
falls
most
in the
unsettling.
uncanny valley.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's like how close is it to being a human? Isn't that what Uncanny Valley is? Is like the human kind of relation?
Yeah, it's like it just falls in the middle. I don't know.
Because
It
like
doesn't
there's
have
like
to be.
monkeys or
diagram of, like-
something like are like somewhere on there because
It
it's
can
like
just be
they look
anything.
so much like a human.
It doesn't
I
have
think
to just
so,
be human,
yeah.
though. But, yeah. It's just like features, like it can be anything. Like it can be lighting, like lighting in a picture, right? Like it can be like technically you lit it, but you didn't light it realistic enough to where it looks real in a sense. So it doesn't have to just be human, but like it's you. I think you more commonly see it in like AI. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
trying to be human. You're like, oh, this is kind of
ah.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I think, taxidermy would creep me out. It's just a little unsettling because it's like, you were like the carcass of something that used to be alive.
There's just something, yeah,
Dolls,
little-
ventriloquist puppets. Yeah, some animatronics.
Like robots.
Ooh, animatronics is good.
I think a lot of
actually.
people have a fear of animatronics.
Friday Night at Freddy's. is that what
Yeah,
it's called?
Yeah.
literally, I've seen
Five
so
Nights at
many
Freddy's.
Friday night. I was like,
Yeah.
so many comments.
TGI Fridays?
Freddy's. Everybody is commenting saying that our videos are very reminiscent of Five Nights at Freddy's, like the last two, which
Yeah.
I
I'd say so.
don't really know.
never
It's,
played
it's basically like you go around in rooms and these creatures pop out at you
Yeah.
and you try to like avoid them and not be in the rooms with them at the
Interesting.
same time.
Could we buy some animatronics and get a little weird? You know what I'm
Oh
saying?
God, no.
Imagine just buying some
What's this, like,
creepy
yeah?
animatronics.
Mixed into it.
Because we could, I mean, like the Halloween stores sell animatronics. They might
They
not
do.
be super realistic.
How would we
but,
work that into the story?
I don't know. I'm just saying if we ever need it, like we can get them at like Spirit Halloween stores.
Yeah,
and,
that's
like-
true.
They also sell animatronics from amusement parks that are no longer active.
That would be a really cool concept for.
Imagine just like walking in a room with like that's full of animatronics
No.
Dude.
that are real. Like
It,
that
wasn't
are like
there a
moving.
horror
Video
movie
going to,
about
like-
this? Sorry, continue.
There
I
was
just,
there was the Wax Museum
or like
movie.
mannequin.
Ooh,
Like,
wax
what's it-
figures is another
Wax
really
figures.
good
are
Figures.
creepy,
Oh,
bro.
okay. I will say they're creepy, but some are so real. When I went to Madame Tussauds on Hollywood Boulevard for the first time, most of them were like, "Oh yeah, this is a little weird because like you look so off-putting." But I will say, I saw the Robin Williams one, and this was like a couple months after he had died,
Oh,
I
sad.
think, and I cried because it felt like I was like actually like looking at him. Like his felt so real that it made me cry because it felt like this very like unsettling thing of like, okay, I know that this person is like now dead, but also like they look so realistic and like I don't know if it's the way they just painted his eyes. I
Like,
literally
out of
have
sadness?
pictures. Well, they like
or out of like fear.
No, like sadness, and also like it felt like I was meeting Robin Williams. I have photos of me hugging it. Like my mom was like taking pictures of me, like, oh my god,
That's
because
so cute.
like
that's like so like sincere, you know?
Yeah.
It's just, like,
it just it literally felt like I was meeting him.
Is this the same place we went to for that like weird YouTuber party?
I didn't get to go to that because I was not 21 yet.
You didn't go? I could have sworn you were there.
It was you,
It was
Hannah,
like your
Sierra,
scene.
Kat. I know.
That's
I really wish I went.
that
I
party
wanted to go so badly.
It was fun. It was really interesting watching, like seeing all the wax figures. But like me and I think someone else were like really, really sick. We like got there and we're like,
Oh,
we don't,
weird.
Yeah,
I wonder
it was
why.
Weird.
I think
Just
I
came
heard
on
about
to-
this. Anyways,
but
no,
yeah.
but I wasn't there.
Okay.
But
David
yeah.
Dobrik was.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, really?
That's
Wow.
why I was so pissed too. I was like,
It's okay, Sam.
Anyways.
and now
Yeah, I
he's
think I-
canceled.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
But yeah, animatronics would be sick.
animatronics, super scary wax figures.
Did you know that on It's a Small World, those animatronics are going all the time, like 24 hours of the day?
It's kind of creepy.
going?
Imagine.
Like they're like always on.
Oh, I thought you
2
meant like
a.m.,
they're
you're
always
there
for
alone.
sale. I was like,
Oh no. Sorry.
Dude, could you imagine like if you work there and they're on 24/7, right? And then like you're like cleaning up in there and all of a sudden
Bro.
they stop and then you look up and they're all looking at you.
No, they stop. You look up. They're looking at you. Their audio starts playing backwards, and it starts just saying, "You are a dead one." Like, just start saying creepy
my
stuff.
god.
Scary.
Dang, I just got myself a little juiced up right there. That sounds like my nightmare.
Yeah.
Juiced up.
Yeah, doesn't that kind
Tanner,
of like,
walk
get
us
you-
through what that means.
Juiced up is like when
How do
you
you feel when you're
the
juiced up?
adrenaline
Like
juicing
steroids?
through your veins.
Juicing through
Were
your
you just
veins.
looking
I
at
hate
wax
that.
stamps?
Yeah, I
wax
want no.
seals?
Well, I was looking to see how much it would cost to make a custom wax figure.
Oh
a
god,
lot.
Think about
so
that.
much
That'd be
money.
dope. And then that could be like a
Dope or
custom
no?
dope or note video. You know, it's
I
like
th- I
making
think-
a wax figure of Matt's head.
Yeah, I think the easiest.
so
I made a cake of Matt's head, but I think the easiest way to do that would be to like sculpt wax like onto a mannequin. You know, not like obviously a solid thing, but like you could probably get someone to do that
That's what I gotta
out
find.
of clay or something.
It would look so realistic. It'd be like weird. It'd be
do you
kinda
know?
cool. We've done cake. We've done ice sculptures, but wax sculpture is a little bit like what the freak?
Ooh, could it be like a candle?
Even
Burn
cooler.
it.
Creepy, bro.
That would be cool.
Blech.
If you can get it look
Just like-
hyper realistic.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe people wouldn't click, but that's still be sick. Like, oh, his face.
Gross.
Why is it doing that?
That's funny.
Yeah, that's pretty much an update on all that.
Yeah.
I remember I wanted to ask. Oh yeah, does like the audience know about Lauren at all yet? Like, has she been introduced to the audience?
We introduced her-
like
well-
very briefly, didn't we?
We talk
On the
about
podcast,
her,
not
yeah.
like in the show.
Yeah. So like in the show, like
But-
has she shown up, or
No.
is she kind of like a little secret like device you guys could use almost?
What do you
Well-
mean by that?
She showed up like
In the background.
Yeah, I think maybe in the background. I don't know that we've ever deliberately been like, hey, look. Oh, no, I watched that happen on Dope or Nope. That's
she's
what it
on Dope
was.
or
You
Nope.
guys like brought her in on Dope
She
or
said hi on
Nope
Dope
to
or
like
Nope.
say hi.
Yeah.
But so no, she hasn't been on camera. That's not deliberate per se. I mean, I get what you're saying. Like, oh, like if no one's seen her face, can we like use her like
As a
in some
character or
way?
something, yeah.
But yeah, she's been behind the scenes on a lot of the shoots so far. But yeah,
Love to see it.
not visually,
Not visually.
other than like in the background. So
Yeah, I don't think her face is actually shown though.
Except for in Dope or Nope. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Good to know. Do you guys want to get into this week's episode? Or
Okay.
that released
Yeah.
this week?
the video that released this week
It
was
Woke
the
Me Up.
3 a.m. one, right?
Yeah. It woke me
Okay.
up at 3 a.m. Caught moving.
Yeah. So are we? Wait. Sometimes I get confused. So I just want to, ask this general question, Tanner.
Okay.
This is obviously behind 863. So are we allowed to talk about how we did that?
Yeah, we can talk about how we did what came out, as
Okay.
long as it doesn't reveal any spoiler for like the future. I
Didn't
would
we
say.
talk about how we did it?
I feel
already?
like we did. Oh, because we did in last week's video for like the daytime part.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I have no problem revealing how we've done something. It's more so like
if it's connected to a story piece in the future.
yeah, like or like a big reveal in the future. You
Yeah.
know, then I'm like, all right.
So for this one, it was Lauren running the mannequin around. And with I actually have a really funny story about this one. So mannequin, no, what? Lauren.
I'm gonna let her know you called her that.
Manny. No, so Lauren was in charge of moving the mannequin around. Obviously, this one was pretty specific because we wanted Lauren to be able to stay hidden while we were filming to increase the experience for all of us. But also, like, she just had a lot of blocking and had to remember, like, and adapt to our path and which way we were going to lead ourselves through Red Base at night. So she did a great job. There was one moment where we were going up the stairs, up the wooden stairs in the back of Red Base in the warehouse. And the entire video, I mean, for the one last week and also the one yesterday, I was on my phone, like texting whoever was moving the mannequin, being like, is it good? Is it in place? No. Okay. So it's like there's only one spot in this video where you can see me just like randomly put my phone down, but maybe I hopefully just looked like I was checking the time. But we're going up the stairs and I hadn't gotten the all clear yet from Lauren. So I'm trying to like stall at the bottom of the stairs, but like Matt is already going up, Bailey and Wood's already going up. And then I get a text from Lauren saying, I think I've put it facing the wrong way, because this was when she'd placed it like to like point into the warehouse, like when Matt opens the door. And she said, I think I placed it the wrong way. And I was like, oh, how do I casually try and stall right now? So I was like, I need a shoulder break. I was like, yeah, I just need to like put the camera down for a second. Like, can we just like take a quick break? Like in the middle of us going up the stairs.
I totally believed her. It's like, she's been carrying it for a long time.
Thank you. And thankfully, I think Matt caught on to the stall, but he starts going up the stairs and I'm like, so I put the camera down and I just kind of like book it and I'm trying to go around the other direction, like up by the writer's room. But when I get to the top of the steps, the mannequin is facing the correct way. And so I start to text Lauren and I'm like, no, maybe there was a misunderstanding. Like you put it the right way. And so of course I'm like, okay, I stalled for nothing. But I get back down there and I look at Matt and he gives me this look of like, I fixed it. So he was able to sneak up to the top, open the door without us knowing, flip it around, and then shut it and come back. And yeah, we were like out in the hallway and he was like, I fixed it. Don't worry about it. And I was like, oh my God, that like drove me crazy for a second.
That's
to like
so
go upstairs
funny.
to see that it was like actually facing the correct way. I was like, how did this happen?
It was the mannequin.
It's moving.
It's moving on its own. But so that was just a good example of us having to like stall until it was in place. And I was just like, I know Bailey's gonna like catch on to something, obviously.
No.
But
I'm stupid.
no, you're not.
I mean, I didn't even catch on. I was just kind of.
Oh, great. Well,
Yeah.
okay.
Imagine the whole audience is like, what was that? You know, and you two were just like, I don't know.
Oh no, we were just hanging out
just
for a
along for
second.
the ride at this point.
Yeah,
You know?
and of course the whole like stall was cut out of the final cut.
Yeah,
but
right.
But yeah, it was a fun shoot.
It was fun.
A lot of blocking, you know, moving that thing around. But
Yeah,
good
so the
scary.
last two shoots have been like that, right?
Yeah.
Choreographed. Yeah.
Kat killed it on the first one. I know
Yeah.
I wasn't here for that, but for that podcast.
Oh,
but
right,
like
yeah.
she nailed it. And like we were pretty strategic about how, like, I literally wrote her a script of like, when the team is here, go here, when the team is here, go here. Like, but she absolutely nailed it.
Yeah.
She was running her little butt off. But yeah.
Is there going to be
It was
any
good
more
time.
of that for this week's shoot? Like, is there any
No.
more scripting or anything?
I think the
well,
mannequin's
what do you
gone
mean?
now, technically. Like, I don't think them.
Yeah, the mannequin
yeah.
disappeared in story.
Yeah, you're right.
Oh, it disappeared. Oh, it's just gone.
Right?
Just
at the
messed
end
with
of
me 'cause I saw it
the
downstairs.
Yeah. We were just like, the mannequin's gone. Oh, wait, no. He was in front of the door.
Yeah, he's in front of the
He-
door still.
It was in front of the
Whomst
closet
it
door.
have been?
Oh,
Wait, does he disappear in the hand video? I think he does.
I think he does it. Yes, he does. Because I remember in the hand video, we go up there and Matt just throws the mannequin off to the side and goes, "It's gone!" But like we're obviously cutting out like him throwing it, but so it's like the mannequin did actually disappear. But seeing that moment happen,
It's gonna be such a good blooper. Were you
I
guys
know.
rolling during that?
Yeah, I mean, I
Yes.
think so.
Oh, yeah,
Sometimes
I
I
think
don't
so.
know when we're rolling or not because I'm like, okay, did I see that with my eyes or did I see that through the camera?
Yeah.
But yeah, so this week's shoot is all about, right? We can talk about this, right? Or can we? You said this is coming out in 2 weeks?
This is
So
coming
can
out.
we talk about the video that we're filming this week?
Yeah, go for it.
Really?
Yeah.
I
Generally.
don't know
if we
why
can.
the math is confusing
Well, what
to
are we
me,
filming?
but we've typically
when,
done this.
When does what we film tomorrow come out?
Make
Next. Okay.
Does it come out next Thursday?
No, the Thursday after.
Then I would not.
Or sorry,
Okay.
the Tuesday after.
Yeah, it's not next, but it's the following.
I would not. Just
Okay.
to be safe.
Well, we can talk about it generally. I think maybe who knows. We have a very
Worst worse, we can cut it. So you're
yeah,
fine.
we have a very exciting shoot. Kind of a part 2 to the explosion of the wall. I mean, obviously the
Yeah.
audience heard that at the end of the last video with it pushing out.
Mm-hmm.
So this week we get to see what happened. We get to go back into the room. Woods has been doing a lot of work on making that practical effect happen. Do you want to talk about how you made the
Oh,
pushing out
yeah.
practically happen? Because that was a whole journey for you.
Yeah, so essentially drywall is stiff, not flexible, right? So what I had to do was I had to find a material that I could put over that wall that would allow it to stretch, and lo and behold, that's spandex. So I cut a hole
Oh,
out.
spandex.
Cut a hole out, and I like stretched it as taut as I could. And
Good word.
stapled, glued all the edges like down. Just had to really get rid of that edge that was sticking on top of the wall but covering the hole. And in order to do that, there was a lot of staples, a lot of glue used, and then I had to trowel like drywall mixture like 2 feet away and like ramp it up slowly to about 2 meters or 2 millimeters to the spandex so that it wouldn't you wouldn't see the outline, which, you know, unfortunately you could see the outline, so we just kind of played it off.
But like not unless you were staring at the wall, because
Yeah, and the lighting we used definitely like highlighted it. For
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
but also like I feel because we were in that room when that set was
Yeah.
set, but like a couple videos before, no one said anything about like it looks like there's a square on the wall.
Yeah.
Like it's because I didn't even notice. I like the first time I went in there, I was like, has he done it yet? Like I don't. And then like the more that you stare at it from different angles, you can see the
Yeah.
outline. But
Right.
like
Yeah, and unfortunately, with getting the lighting right for the hand, that's contingent on getting the shadows of like the ridges of the hand.
Yeah.
Therefore, it highlights the ridges
Yeah.
of the square. But
But after that was all stretched out and it was troweled over, I spread like 2 to 3 layers of like wall texture, you know, like weird
Yeah.
bumpy stuff, and then went over it with paints and white spray paint, because like it's difficult to paint cloth
I'm
and
sure.
get it like
Yeah.
fully painted without like stretching it into
Yeah.
the hole. So that was a delicate process. So I'm like, for the next shoot, I'll just say that like I witnessed the spandex after the fact, after it dried, and like from like a 2 millimeter thickness, it went to like maybe like a 1/4 of an inch thick, and
Wow.
like of just crap on top of this wall.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was that was a long journey. Definitely one of those props I won't forget.
it looked
Yeah.
sick, dude. I showed Brian, my boyfriend, the episode, like the first cut of it, and he was super impressed. He was like, "Who did that?" I
Oh,
was like,
heck
"What?"
yeah.
And he was like, "He
It
could do
looks
special
so
effects. It looks
good.
sick."
Right on.
No,
Yeah.
like it truly was so impressive. I remember doing that walkthrough with you and just being like, Like, because I wanted to touch it more, but so like it was such a trippy effect because it looked exactly like the rest of the wall. Like you
just
nailed
touch
it,
like
but you touch it and it would like it would just kind of like and so it was like
gross,
whoa, like it felt so trippy because it made the wall look like it was like liquid when you poke it, and so it was just so like next level. You did such a good job.
It was
Thank you,
really
appreciate
cool.
it.
Yeah, we'll have to, because I never got to vlog that yet, so I'll have to vlog that tomorrow.
I need to get assets, so maybe we could collab.
There you go.
Well, it's gone.
Yeah,
gone?
Yeah, I had to
because
move
he
on
has
to
to
the
prep
next
it for
Oh,
this video or this
Oh,
week
you're right. Well,
because the
gone
boom
forever.
boom happened.
Gone forever.
You can
Rip.
steal the assets that I took for thumbnail, like in the
You wanted
moment.
TikTok stuff, huh?
Yeah.
Well,
Dang.
you can take
thought-
the raw footage.
I thought you did get film TikTok stuff.
I
that
mean,
night.
I did, but it's like we were trying to give thumbnails, so it's like the lantern like moving back and forth.
Oh, you
and
should
stuff.
just
Bailey,
like
go in.
overlay it with that voice that's like, "What's happening to my wall?"
yeah.
Yeah, you should. That's it.
Yeah.
What's
but no,
happening to my
go into the Dropbox raw footage folder and just snag the clip that I'm filming and all those
Okay.
different lighting and just take that for your TikTok.
Okay.
Why is
Yeah.
that so
I don't really
funny
like
to
that.
me, dude?
You know that
What's
that
happening
narration
to my
voice?
wall?
Yeah. What is happening
She
to
just-
my
but
wall?
it's
Or it's
also
like
just like-
rocket and it's like, what's happening? I can't do the rocket
What a
voice. but
TikTok thing to say though is like, what's happening to my wall? It's just like,
Yeah.
Darn. Well,
it's like, have you seen that TikTok of like the because you know I guess like that dating app, is it like Hinge or something that added like you can put voice chats on or
I
whatever
know what you're
now?
talking about.
And so this guy's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
one thing I'll what did he say? He's like, oh yeah, one thing that really irritates me is that like, because they asked a question like, what's something that really irritates you or something like that. It's like, one thing that really irritates me is like my roommate who I live with, he just leaves banana peels all around the apartment, and sometimes he goes whoa, 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 like makes like the when you step on like a banana peel like fall sound,
That's funny.
like from a video game. And I was crying. And just imagine like the same thing with the wall. It's like, what's wrong with my wall? Touch it. Whoa, 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 whoa. Like, it's just like super. Boy, yeah.
give
It
me
was very
ideas,
elaborate just for
guys.
that joke.
But yeah, that was the whole process.
Well, good
And
job.
Excited
Thank
to
you.
see the next phase.
Yeah.
Do we still have the thing that we stuck in the back of the U-Haul, the big device? Did
No.
we ditched that too.
Tossed
Look
it.
at us, we're getting so minimalistic now. You know, previously like last season when I was doing remember how I was doing season 1 and season 2 videos at the same time, and me and you were like, all right, like what props do we still have that we can just go and make a 10-minute video out of? You know?
Yeah.
And we had literally everything you've ever made was somewhere in this building, and now it's like, dang, what's
I
this big
would have
inventions?
kept it, but
It's so big.
it was like it was really huge. But I mean, I could have put it up like in the warehouse, like where that huge storage shelf is.
Yeah.
But it was like hanging on by a thread. Like pieces were
Yeah.
like barely hanging on because it was just like a last minute prop.
Wait, the bomb?
The big bomb, yeah. I mean, it was
Really?
like
I feel like you were working on that for a while.
I was, but it was like okay, like I mean, I don't know if you looked at the welds or anything, but that thing was about to fall apart. It did fall apart. When
Oh
I
yeah,
moved
because they had to. It was an orange base,
Yeah,
and
it
that
was
whole
just
thing
like-
happened. Yeah, I remember that.
Tanner,
Hey, huh?
what are your thoughts on how the story's going right now?
Pretty good.
Oh, great.
Nice.
Thanks
My
for
thoughts
sharing.
are pretty good. No, I think it's the best it's been in a long time.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I liked season 2's vibe a bit. I will agree that it felt, from me being on the inside, it was not as interesting for me to watch because like I know you guys aren't like, there's no real actual conflict. It just felt a little bit like brought up. You know what I'm saying? It felt like it felt a bit like making a mountain out of a molehill kind of vibe. Season 2 did, at least from the internal like.
Are you talking about the
Drama.
conflict? Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
just the
story.
conflict. Yeah, a lot of it felt like there wasn't a lot happening except for like you guys were just always really like for some reason at odds. I was like, yeah, okay. I really like this season
Sorry.
because it feels like
Oh no, I hit your foot because he said we were at odds.
Oh, okay. my bad.
Sorry, I thought it was a bit. I literally
No, I
slapped
thought you
his
were
foot
Which is like, what did I
because
do wrong?
It put it up here. No, but he just accepted it and nodded, and he was like, "Sorry."
yeah.
I was like,
Because
"Whoa,
his foot's
no."
up on the
We'll
couch.
push over.
Sorry, continue.
No, you're fine. I think what I really like about this season, and where I'm hoping it's at least keeps this vibe for the future, is it feels a lot like watching adult Scooby-Doo. You know what I'm saying? Which is pretty fun, I think.
Yeah.
Where, yeah, I mean, there's still some things like I just like know for being a part of it, so it, like kind of kills some things for me, like being a part of it naturally as a viewer. But like it does give this vibe of like this is like a genuinely really kind of weird, creepy thing, and like I am curious like what what's causing it. You know, like that to the T, I think is the best part of what we're making right now. Do I think there's ways we can do it better? Absolutely. You know, I think some things are too elongated. Some things are just completely missed. Some things are over explained. Like it's kind of like we're still in that phase where I can feel like you can feel when you're watching it of like, okay, it's like skip this point. You know what I'm saying? Or you can feel like, wait, I'm really interested in this. Why are we not talking more about this? You know? Which I think is like when you have expert writers, like they don't miss that stuff.
I feel like what you said
we'll get there.
The other day about like, you know, the fact that we're very focused on the conflict that's happening in the video rather than the overarching conflict at hand. And so I feel like we end up spending too much time on minute details of like, we can't get the door unlocked. Why isn't the door unlocking?
That's
like,
why I'm excited with like, I think what's going to really benefit when we introduce more of like the auditing from like the audience perspective, like in the Scrum stuff, like with writing and beats and all that stuff, picking random people out from the audience and see what they think about them is going to help, because I think that's like our biggest trap is we're all in the part of producing it. So none of us are just viewers. And so like, it's just constantly doing what we think is right and what we think is best. But like, we aren't really ever thinking what they want to see, you know? Like I have a bunch of ideas that I'm like, there's no way we would ever flip it because we already are so stuck on where we want this thing to go, you know? But I think would totally throw the audience for benders. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know if I want to, I guess I can bring it up just like, I don't think it's never going to happen, but I thought it would be super cool if Woods ended up being like the bad guy of the season out of nowhere. You know what I'm saying? The kid that everybody loves. The kid that everybody roots for.
I've thought about this too.
Like, I thought it'd be so interesting if at the end, like, everyone thinks it's going to be something else and it just ends up being Woods. I was like, dude, that would be such a sucker punch to
just
go.
Come out method acting all like properly.
Speaking.
It's like, who is this?
It's because, and you've also been really focused this season too. Like, a lot of the focused conversation has been with you, you know? Like, your talk with Matt when you were quitting, like, you being you've been like a really like kind of like in the light character, but you also aren't treated like you also are so treated one-dimensional.
True.
Even though so that's like such a good setup for you to like traditionally to not be, you know? I thought about that a lot, but we also already like, you know, we've kind of been investing in our own story and our own idea for where we want this to go for like months now. You know? Well, so it's kind of like,
it's hard to like pivot at that point.
You have to change everything.
Because also we only have like X amount of episodes left in season 3, and I think right now we're all kind of feeling the mindset pressure of like, well, we got a lot of stuff to wrap up or, you know, cross off our lists to make the ending of the season as impactful as we all want it to be and to make it match what's in our brains, because a lot of times, you know, I'll get like frustrated with like a disconnect that the audience is having like about the story, but I forget that like they don't have the information we have in writing rooms, obviously. So when something in the story doesn't feel clear to them, that I'm like, that's like my favorite part or such a clear part of the story, like, what are you talking about? Like, you don't get it. It's obviously because like they don't have all the pieces, and sometimes things get lost in translation. Like, we've seen examples of like, we go into a video with an intention of trying to get the audience to think this thing or trying to explain the story in a certain way, and then we watch the video and it's like, we didn't talk about this enough, we didn't talk about this enough, like we just totally missed the mark on the purpose of that video, like carrying the overall story along. And so, you know, right now, like I said, we're at the end of season 3 and it's like we have a handful of videos left to like tie up a lot of plot lines and a lot of you know, set things up for season 4 and just like make things crystal clear. And it's like, that,
you know, we're also pulled in a couple different directions as well with marketing, and I think that we sometimes get carried away with like we'll come up with, you know, like mystery or just random story ideas that are like, oh, awesome, we can definitely market this and it's going to get hecka clicks. But then, we do get a little carried away in terms of like, well, how do we make this work, this like thumbnail work? And
with the story,
not even like, it's almost like, how do we make this thumbnail work? With the story, but also like make it mystery. And I think we have to like, instead of going from like point A to point B, we end up going like point A, B, C, D, just to get this just to reach out to get this thumbnail.
Yeah, no, it's very true.
Which is, which is natural for us YouTubers. Like we have to market in some way. We need that. And yeah.
But like the core idea could have been clearer if we just went from like A to B.
Yeah, because like we'll get distracted with the thumbnail
with the thumbnail
aspect.
thing, what spices it up. Whereas like I mean, I think that's a great example because sometimes even just like relationships between characters that we want to convey, whether it's like us or like in the story the characters we're dealing with, like Deb and Wes and Cyphus and everyone, it's like a lot of times we can see all the relationships crystal clear, but when you look at the information that like the viewer has, it's kind of like, oh, how are they supposed to draw that conclusion when we've never told them like that thing so clearly? We've like implied it through clues.
We'll be talking about it so much.
But
I know, isn't that funny?
Exactly.
Yeah, we have these characters so nailed down, but then like, yeah, from an audience perspective, like they don't see any of those conversations.
Well, I think I think there's an interesting point too, which is like when you're like, we're making something independently, right? So it's like kind of like Wood says, like everyone's wearing a lot of different hats, doing a lot of different things, and so I don't care like how good you think you are, you know what I'm saying, at anything. It's like there's no way for you to direct as good as a director while you're acting, you know what I'm saying. And it's
writing.
like yeah, it's because you're like what the way we treat a lot of directing now, the way Matt directs is like, did we hit this point, you know? And then he kind of like judges something, how the feeling is in the vibe, but he's not watching it from the outside. He's also not able to see how he's looking from the outside. He's so focused on like what everyone else is doing. It's like there's just too many different things going on to where like when you're doing traditional structured stuff, you have one person who literally just watches to make sure that even the exact feeling that that person's portraying or the emotions they're using is exactly what they want.
Very
true.
So like that's the thing is like the more structure we lean into, which is good, you know, structure helps for like repetitively doing things of a certain quality, the more like precise things have to be. And so the ways we've tried to go around that in the past, right, is like improv, right? Like if people don't know what's actually happening, they don't have to act precisely because they're just being themselves. There's no acting, right?
Yeah.
And if you're just being yourself, there's no one that can tell you how to be yourself better than you, right? And so I think like that's the balance that we're constantly fighting is like, well, we don't have a lot of people, so we have a lot of people wearing a lot of hats, but we can't also go full improv or else this is just pure chaos. But we can't also go too structured or else it's going to look like a soap opera.
Yeah. I mean, and sometimes we do have those lines of like, okay, we need the audience to know this thing or we need this moral like to be very clear. So, okay, Woods, make sure you say this line specifically. But like that very rarely happens.
Right.
But sometimes I'm always curious as to like, you know, if we could or if it would be beneficial of like, we need the audience to find this conclusion or draw this conclusion in this video so that this thing down the line makes sense. So like, let's throw in a line that we like make sure we say that's a definitive conclusion, because I think sometimes part of the reason the story can feel murky is we theorize a lot in our videos. We don't often definitively decide what we think it is.
True.
Like we're like, well, what if it's this? What if it's this? What if it's this? And we're like, yeah. And so in the final cut, we can be like, oh, well, we said it in the video. It's like, yeah, but it's while we were theorizing and all throwing out different ideas. So it's like, which of those ideas is the audience supposed to be like, that's the story.
Right.
Like, that's actually what happened with Deb and Wes.
True, but I do think that also leaves it more up to audience interpretation, and that's kind of a big part of our story,
that's exactly. Yeah, it's like that. We want that because we want to hear what direction the audience wants to take it in.
Yeah.
But I think sometimes maybe we just miss the step of solidifying, like,
Definitely.
Audience, you were correct. We also think, like, this is what happened. So moving off of that, going forward,
that's a
like,
good
what
point.
do we think?
It's tough. It's just there's so many like gray areas in the fact that like, because like if we were to even take just one scripted line, and if you were to tell me, hey, Woods is about like in this scene there's one line scripted, you know what I'm saying, and you don't even have to tell me who in the scene said it, and if it was just like traditional like how we normally film, I feel like almost for certain I could tell what line it was.
Yeah.
Like, and it's not because of anything other than the fact that like we aren't practicing lines.
No.
We don't have anyone over here trying to hyper correct lines, but like yeah, you don't even get to retake lines a lot of the time. Like even when we have done scripted content in the past, it's like, hey, did we at least even say the line? You know what I'm saying? But like traditional acting, it's like, no, like here, give me like 5 takes, give me different say this part,
points.
inflect a little bit differently. Go more this direction with it. Like we don't do that. So it's like the line the syntax can be there, but the semantics don't get to be played with of what you're saying. And so that's the only thing that's difficult too, is it's like, just like you said, it's like sometimes we just want to like throw in to clarify the direction, but then it feels so forced because like we aren't like saying it naturally either. You know?
I think it's because
like if Woods isn't saying like, dang man, like something like that, I'm
Well,
like,
right.
I'm not gonna believe it, bro.
Well, yeah, because in the conversation that Woods and Matt had by the fridge, like the line we could obviously all pull out was like I thought you're supposed to protect your employees, or like
Yeah, I would never
you're
say
not my
that.
employee.
Yeah, Woods would have been like, bro.
Yeah, no, he wouldn't have said that.
Not about like, I'm
Bro,
right
you're a
too.
bad boss.
But that whole exchange was like, I thought you were supposed to protect your employees. You're not my employee. Am I even your friend? You tell me. Like
Yeah,
that
I
is
think
not
that-
how a conversation between Matt and Woods would
I think
likely go.
once, like if we were to maybe like take the line, be like, hey, you need to say this, and you need to say this line, and then take the line and rather than say it like it is, but put it into your own
Own
words.
voice.
definitely, yeah,
I
because
think that would be important.
And it's like on paper, like I think that's a great written exchange. Like it's like, yeah, that like says exactly what the circumstance is. But I think you nailed it on the head. It's like when you put it in the context of us not functioning with the script elsewhere, and like not using even just proper syntax 99% of the time.
Yeah, it's hard.
Like it's just like, oh, when you have such a like clearly deliverable like line, it just still feels out of place.
But I do think that's what makes it really special, is all of the unscripted moments are like so pure in a sense, right? Like on the same video, you know what I'm saying? Which is like what Bailey wrote.
Oh my God.
Comedy, bro. Like it's so uncomfortable.
In the card, the goodbye card that was like,
Yeah.
please don't leave. Or
It's
something.
just like unscripted. She just thought of that herself. She delivered it how she would have said it and how she thought it, and it came off so natural. Like I don't think you could script something more natural than that.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah.
Sam like doing her little sniper shot. Like that wasn't totally like scripted the way she did. It's just kind of like, yeah, it's naturally gets a shot. You look over at the same time somehow. Like it's just there's so many things that are like this is natural. Me popping out of like the thing to like see Woods and like give him a hug kind of thing. It's
Yeah.
like that'd be so cringy to script, and it would have came off
so,
cringy.
can I
Yeah.
tell a funny story the audience doesn't know?
Sure. I mean, I don't.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll see why not.
So,
oh yeah.
yeah, it's funny that we did that like going away party for me, and it was kind of super awkward to film because like 3 weeks, maybe a month before that, like I was ready to move. I was actually moving away, and I was planning it. Now some certain decisions were made in terms of like my personal life, and in fact I am not moving anymore, but I wanted to be sure before I was saying anything to you guys, and I'm not, but yeah, so like I had told Matt and a couple other people at the studio.
He wasn't moving in bad faith either. He wasn't
No,
moving.
no.
Like,
No,
out of
no, it
being
wasn't
upset.
anything dramatic. It was just ready
Yeah.
for a life change.
but that's pretty dramatic,
but tell them who didn't know.
yeah, I'll get to
In the
it. Yeah.
I thought it was so funny, by the way, that happened.
So like, yeah, I'm walking in and I'm like kind of realizing like, oh wow, like this is weird foreshadowing of my own life, and not even realizing like what we're doing until that moment happened. And I'm like, before I like could even like interact with anyone, I was like, oh, like this is gonna be really weird for me and everyone who knows.
Yeah.
And like the only people who didn't know were Sam and Mike. And so Samantha was the one planning this fake going away party, and she did a really good job, I'll say.
Thank you.
But she was like, she went pretty all out with the decorations.
The corner that said subject to.
Yeah.
Yeah, subject 3.
Sorry.
I put fan art on the wall. I made everyone write this card.
you
I
actually,
didn't know.
you genuinely thought
No,
he was leaving?
he didn't.
No, she didn't know.
He didn't tell me that in real life he was
was
planning
going
on
to.
moving until like weeks
And
after
then you
we
doing all
filmed
like that extreme made you think that she did know?
It did make it. I
It made
was
you realize.
It made me realize that I hadn't told everybody, but more so it made me like realize like how uncomfortable the situation was, but more so too that like that like it was kind of just hilarious that Sam was planning this thing while not knowing that I was actually leaving.
No, it's so funny because like we had the video idea of like Woods' last day like weeks before, and so I guess I don't know how long or when you first told people you were potentially leaving, so I don't know when the video was actually written in terms of like you potentially leaving in real life, but like in my context of planning that video, it was like pure fiction. Like there was no, like I knew nothing, and so I was like, I'm gonna put fan art on the wall, I'm gonna like, I was like, Woods, let me throw it, because like I think that even in story, like Sam throwing that party would just make a lot of sense.
Out of story.
And like even out of story too. But so I was just like, I'm gonna like make it really sappy, and I'm gonna make everyone write goodbye messages on a card. I think maybe it'll really guilt him into
really
staying.
yoked Woods back into staying for real.
Yeah, maybe it worked.
Yeah,
did it work?
Yeah,
Did
that's
it
the
work?
reason I stayed. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good to hear.
But like, because, and also in hindsight, after Woods did tell me, I had this moment of like, the rest of the team let me plan that video without like any sort of
I'm gonna be honest,
context.
I didn't connect the two. Like I knew beforehand, but I was like, oh, this is just for the story too. I was like,
No,
but now that you say it, it kind of makes sense at that
it was
moment.
just like, I don't know.
It was such a funny, like, weird coincidence.
I didn't know that you didn't know.
It gave me
Yeah,
a taste.
so-
It gave me a
gave you a
taste a
taste.
little bit, and I was like, wow.
Well,
this
it's
is
also
very strange.
really funny
Wow,
because,
it's sad.
like, in hindsight, I know that Matt knew, like, when we were filming that, and there were so many moments where I would look at Matt, and I was like, oh, this is really gonna guilt him into staying high, and he would be like, yeah, like Matt could tell that I didn't really know, and so he was like, and then even after we filmed that, because there's a part of the video where we go to Woods' apartment, and we're getting in the car, and I can tell that Woods is in kind of a weird mood, and I just thought he was like in character, and I was like, what did I say? I said something about like, oh, do you feel like it was actually your last day or something like that? I remember like I made a comment to you outside of Matt's car.
Made me feel like a tad guilty, not like not super guilty, but like I don't know. I definitely used like, because I mean, like when I was going through that motion, there was a big duration of time where I was planning this, and it was like maybe like 2 and a 2.5 month period where I was, or a 2.5 month period before I was going to go. And so like, you know, there were points where I'd be hanging out with friends, and I'd be like, I'm like already missing these guys.
Sad.
And so like when I was telling Matt, like I can't, like in story, I'm out of here. Like this is too much for me. Like a lot of that was like was like real.
sad.
Fascinating.
I remember
Yeah.
when we were in your apartment and Matt was like, what are you planning on doing when you leave or something? And was just like, I'm gonna
Just
travel.
telling the truth.
Yeah, I was like, I knew that's why Woods was leaving, and so I was just like, how real is this right now? Like, what's going
Woods went up
on?
to work one day, and Matt's like, time to method act, bro. Like, this is the most extreme method acting you're ever gonna do.
Oh my god, I just find it so funny, like looking back on all those moments and like realizing, because I didn't even think about that, because that scene between you and Matt, like outside of the apartment complex, was so good, and I was like, man, Woods is doing a really good job
Woods is
at
actually in this
pretending to
feeling.
leave. and it totally makes sense, because I remember going up to you a lot that day and being like all chummy about like, like you're doing a great job, but also like, oh, what if you left? Like that'd be crazy, right?
I would have laughed if you went back to Woods' apartment and it was just boxes full of his stuff. And you're like,
I'd be like,
you're really
for
in character.
set.
Yeah. No, I would have been like, oh, wow, you set this, you dressed the set like so well.
Woods,
like
really good prep
like,
on us. We
I
didn't even
didn't-
ask you to do this.
Yeah, that fully would have been my reaction. We'd be like, wow, above and beyond this week, dude.
And
like,
also at the end when Woods was like, yeah, like I haven't fully decided if I'm gonna stay or not, like I'm out, like I'll help you solve this and then I'm out, I was like, oh man, like it's because he's actually leaving.
I was talking about that season.
What do you
Like,
mean?
I was talking about the season we were in when we closed
He's
it
like,
up.
yeah, I'll
I
help you
was
solve
out.
this, then I'm out of here.
And then
like-
you were gonna be out.
Yeah, because I was
Yeah.
talking to Matt about
About
dipping
when to
out.
leave,
You
yeah.
know,
So
and when I told
crazy.
him, it was like about six, or it was actually 4 months beforehand. So, yeah.
And now he's staying.
and now
now
he's staying. Guys,
He's
the party
staying.
worked. Don't tell me balloons can't do anything, okay?
Yeah, some options presented themselves, and this is for the better.
Yeah, well, we're happy to have you.
Can you imagine? That would
Yeah,
have been
dude,
bad.
like I was getting all these comments,
guilt.
all these messages of like, did you actually quit High Five? And like, it was giving me anxiety because like there was a point where I was gonna have to announce it. And
Would have been
Yeah.
such a good time if you wanted to though to just quit, because then you could have been like, yeah, that was the last straw. You know, you could
Yeah,
have just
like, that
totally
was it.
played into
Just
it.
kept
ultimate
going-
method
Drop the
acting
vid, dude.
scene. The scene still goes on.
Yeah,
You can't
comes
escape
reality.
it. You can travel the world, but it will follow.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
Woods is here now, and
Woods is
like
here.
I said, he wasn't leaving because like there's gonna be that select few that hear this and they're gonna be like, oh my gosh, Woods was actually gonna quit because no, he wasn't quitting because of the story. He wasn't. Woods just wanted to go do Woods things and travel and
Yeah.
and go see stuff.
explore.
You know,
Yeah.
and everyone has the right to do that.
Yeah.
And so, but I'm glad he's staying. I'm glad I get to see.
And you'll hit that season of your life.
Oh, for sure. And you know, I think the main reason we're like definitely going to stay here is because, you know, we have everyone here as well, but also like, you know, it's our home base and
Yeah.
we can take this opportunity to travel and do all that while having a home base here.
Yeah, I think that's important.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Love that.
absolute legend. So that's it for this episode of Behind 863, episode 22, podcast number 22. I hope you guys enjoyed episode number 22 of Behind 863, podcast number 22.
Number 22. It's number 22, by the way.
22.
22.
Feeling,
I don't know about you, but I'm feeling
2022.
22.
feeling like
I know
Dinosaur
you. I'm
poo.
feeling
What?
22.
Just me?
We'll be alright. Here,
Wait,
give
what did you say?
me next year.
feeling
You know,
22.
mommy.
I'm feeling like dinosaur poo.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot going on
Dinosaur
in this
poo.
outro.
Is that what you're saying?
No, no.
What did you say?
Ew.
What did you say?
I thought he said dinosaur.
All right, we'll see you next time.